The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the raw and uncensored Ambitchious Podcast. I'm your host, the original HBIC, Katie Boyd. During our time here together, I will be instilling all of the strength, power, and determination you will need to use the very stones thrown at you to build your ultimate empire. We will redefine the word bitch from the derogatory to the acronym, being in total control of herself. So let's adjust our crowns and prepare to live life ambitiously. Oh yeah, here I am, the original HBIC, Katie motherfucking Boyd. And over here is my fasting buddy.
Yes.
My one and only, Matthew. Haven't had a martini in a long time. Bye-bye.
Fasted.
Fast, you fat bastard. What was that, Easy Money?
Easy Money. When he's got the bike.
Joe Pesci's character?
Yeah, Joe Pesci has Rodney Dangerfield on the bike.
So I'm Joe Pesci, and you're Rodney Dangerfield.
I'm Rodney Dangerfield. Come on, fast.
I am Joe Pesci, but a female version.
And then the wheel of the bike
drops
into the Christmas tree because it drops and it goes into the
That was such a good movie.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So today on this installment of the Ambitchious Podcast, we are going to be talking about Ambitchious Word, how to reshape your languaging to experience the life you desire. But before we start, I always love to talk about our ambitious sponsor, Ayana, owner of Prana Hair and Skin and Lash.com. Reach out to her and mention this ambitch, and she will hook you up with the ambitious discount, yow. Yeah, Ayana's the best. We love her.
She's the best.
I live for her.
Yes.
So does my eyebrows and my lashes.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Because
I would just look like a hairless cat if it wasn't for her. I would look like a drowned rat.
I think definitely she's amazing. You would not look like a drowned rat.
Matt knows I have a shank under here, and I'm holding it to his liver. You better say I look amazing.
My alcohol-free liver.
Yeah, your liver is not in cirrhosis anymore like it was before.
Don't even say such a thing with words. This is about words. My liver is healthy and strong.
I know. And like I always say every week, go over to www.kbmfc.com. There's a plethora of amazing things that you can learn over there. Blogs, you can buy things, you can get ready for the Ambitchious, the book, all that good stuff. So head on over to that and also put in your email and you will get our Ambitchious email every week. It's super inspiring. It's incredible, filled with all the words of wisdom from Katie motherfucking Boyd.
So true.
Right?
True. Yes.
So Matt and I were kicking this idea around, and we have been surrounded lately by a lot of people who just speak absolute gibberish. They just say shit and they don't even realize that what they're saying is creating their shitty ass, low vibrational ass, dull ass, doldrum life. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so annoying.
Absolutely.
So today we're going to give you 5 ways to reshape the way that you speak, to reshape your words so that you can live life ambitiously. And as you guys know, if you follow the Ambitchious Podcast, I was talking on last week's podcast all about how we were doing this ambitious 28-day protocol with all these women from all over the world. Mm-hmm. And one of the things, like when they get weak, and they do, because they talk about it on our private Facebook community, they're like, oh my God, I had to go to this birthday party and everyone was like eating and drinking all this delicious food. And I got so angry and I felt like shit. And I got jealous and all these things. And every time that they say this, and now I have it like brainwashed into their minds, this is my quote: your word is law and your self-worth depends on it. Your word is law and your self-worth depends on it, because not only do people just speak low vibrationally, but they also make all of these verbal contracts and promises to themselves only to break them like, 2 days later or a day later or a couple hours later, right? And every time that you make a promise to yourself about bettering yourself and you break that promise to yourself, you slowly, systematically chip away at your self-worth. Don't you agree?
Yeah, your self-worth, your will. I mean, and these people, most people, if they told me, they said, hey, Matt, I'm going to do this, I would count on them 150%.
Absolutely.
Meaning if they were going to do something for me or with me or whatever.
Yes.
But how many people we know, great people that will break their word to themselves. And that's like the ultimate failure is when you do that. So if you're not going to do something, don't say it that you're going to do it, especially about yourself, right? If I'm going to do this and you know, because it chips away every time. It gets weaker and weaker and harder to accomplish the thing. If I'm going to give up chocolate, you know, I'm going to give it up, right? Or I'm not going to say I'm going to give it up. I'm like, Katie, I'm not going to give up chocolate. You know, how many times have you done something where I'm like,
a million.
I don't want to do it. I'm not doing this because I found out through work, right? Through working on myself that if I say something, I have to do it because it does chip away.
It does. But how come that we will promise people things and we will never renegotiate on our promises to other people, but then we always break the promises to ourselves? And then that follows up with this shitty ass dialogue and people are like, I don't know why my life sucks. Because your words suck.
Right.
And the words first start with thought. Then they become words, and then they become actions and deeds. So like it says in the Bible, thought, word, and deed create your reality. I'm obviously paraphrasing baby Jesus.
Absolutely.
But that's pretty much what they're trying to say in the Bible.
Philosophers say the same thing. Business leaders, they know how important, when they say something, how important it is that it actually has and holds a vibrational energy, a frequency of creation. So when you say something verbally, it has so much power.
Yep.
And people will just say things and they don't even know why they're saying them.
Oh my God. You know, it's so annoying.
And I was one of them. Believe me. I mean, it took me a long time. And every now and then, you know, you'll catch me or I'll catch you or somebody else will catch me because they know what I'm about as far as, you know, creation and, you know, trying to live the best I possibly can. And that's
like Oprah said, so like powerful. Whatever you think of, you become.
Absolutely.
And then other philosophers and other people out there in the spiritual world say, like, you know, whatever you dwell upon becomes your reality.
Right. If you focus on what you don't want, it's going to become what your reality is.
Totally.
You focus on what you do want instead. Right.
And then when you get your vibrational frequency and your languaging and your thought processes and your actions up to a certain vibrational frequency, then everything just starts to flow to you. And you're like, oh my God, I'm living in like God force energy.
Yeah, and you notice, like, when you're around people that haven't been working on the practice, it's like, oh my goodness, it's like, wow.
The worst thing ever.
One day I was at the studio and these new clients came in and they were talking about something. I was like, I have to move over to the other side of the studio because I could feel, you know, the negativity or, you know, what they were talking about. And it was just like, it wasn't moving the needle in a good direction. It was just like, you know, either bashing somebody or talking negative about the whatever. Right. And well, luckily they're not at the studio any longer, but in any event.
Usually those people just fall away like dingleberries.
Yes, like a dingleberry.
If you don't know what a dingleberry is, it's the little toilet paper bowls that collect on your ass hair. Right?
Look it up in the dictionary.
I don't think it's in the dictionary. It could be in like the
Ambitchious dictionary.
Oh, I should start writing one of those.
All the words, all of the ambitious words to keep you on point.
So, okay, are you ready for this?
Yes,
I am. And you ready to give some really good examples so all the ambitches out there understand what the hell we're talking about?
I fucked up so much, Katie, that I know this by heart.
Matt's like, I know this like on the back of my hand.
I know bad language and I know correct language.
Absolutely. Right. All right, so number one, the first way in which we can all use to reshape our languaging to experience the life of your dreams, to live life ambitiously, is stop using words like want, need, and can't. Want, need, and can't.
Yes.
So many people say this.
Absolutely.
Like, I want this, and I can never do that. That's impossible. Right. Or I need to do something. Right. And anytime you say those words, there is a vibrational frequency of lack and not enoughness that's tied to it. Don't you agree?
Yes. And the lack and the wanting or whatever it is the sponsoring thought. So that's what you will get. Right.
Yes.
So it's like, you know, saying something and making it worse than it is by using this language.
Right.
And I had a problem with the word need. Can't, no. I never had a problem with that. And want, I knew that was a feeling of want. So if you say you want something, or I want this, or I want that, good. So you shall have it. You'll have the feeling of what? Want.
Yes.
That's not a good feeling.
No.
That's not definite. That's not saying what you actually desire and how you want to feel and how you want to bring it.
Totally.
Right? So,
Katie, do you want me to share a coaching tip?
I would love that.
Yes.
So when I was managing people,
yes,
the most effective book that I ever bought was The Little Engine That Could. Because
so true.
I had a dozen copies in the office, and when somebody had come in and say, well, yeah, we can't do that. Say, okay, I need you to read a book and then come back and talk to me.
That's so
and
smart.
I would hand them The Little Engine That Could.
That is a classic.
Because it's like, I think I can. I can.
Yes.
That's what happens.
Yes.
But if you're like,
Absolutely.
I could never, this is impossible.
We can't do that.
Oh my God, what the hell?
Yeah.
And you hear it.
That's such a good idea.
And it's, it's in our culture all the time, but yet somebody else is doing it. So if somebody else is doing it,
honey.
Why can't you? And all right, like my kids in the studio. And I say, listen, I don't want any bad language in the studio. Now, sensei, I would never talk bad language in the studio. And I go, but you just said can't. So when you use the word can't, that means it shuts off every possibility that your mind's not even working towards a solution.
That's just it. You may not be able to do exactly what you envision, but that doesn't mean you couldn't do something even better if you spend the time to 100%. Think about it.
Absolutely.
And I always tell my girls that I coach from all over the world, and they say, well, what do I use instead of want or can't or whatever? Mostly like need or want are the two ones that people say the most, I think, in my opinion, just with the people I coach. And I always tell people, say I desire, because the word desire, the Latin root is of the Father. Okay. Now, obviously, God doesn't have to be a man, a big, an old white man sitting on a cloud with a long robe and a white beard. It's an energy, right? So it's of the Father means it's divine energy. So when you're saying, energy. I desire this, that means that you're aligning with your highest vibrational frequency, your highest self, and you're aligning with God force to get the things done that you desire to do, accomplish your aspirations, your goals, and your dreams. So instead of saying like, I want to make $1 million. Say it's my desire to make $1 million. And doesn't that just change the vibrational frequency? Just me saying it?
Absolutely.
So let me say it again. I want $1 million. I desire $1 million.
Or I'm moving towards making $1 million.
Absolutely.
Or I'm in the process of providing.
Yes. Or I'm going to make, or I'm going to attract, or whatever. But change your languaging because, and I know like a lot of you guys out there in Ambitchious Land are like, oh my God, this is like mundane. It is not. Do this for a couple weeks and you will see so many doors open in your life, so much flow of abundance coming to you. It really changes everything, doesn't it?
And when you get rid of like the word can't, it opens up all possibilities. So now you start your mind working into solutions, which solutions will never come from can't.
No.
Never. Because you just shut it down. You just block the whole creative process, and there's never anything good that's going to come from that.
Also, why limit yourself to 1 million?
Thank you.
Right.
Is that really a goal, or is the goal to have enough so that you can do what you want to do?
Right.
You may not even need 1 million. You may be able to do everything that you want to desire or whatever you choose to with less.
Right.
Or, you're not looking for, what is it? Somebody said, you don't want $1 million because you want a bunch of pictures of a bunch of dead presidents.
No.
Right? No. You want to be able to use the money to be able to do and act the way you want to, or you choose to.
And I think too many people don't even think about it to that level, right? All they think about is, as you've said, it's the lack mentality.
Yes.
So all of a sudden their life will be better if it's filled with money.
No.
Such bullshit.
No.
And I always say to people, instead of saying, I want $1 million, why don't you say, I desire to serve 1 million people. Because if you serve 1 million people, most likely, you're probably going to be a millionaire.
That's the byproduct.
And you have to also ask yourself, why do you, and I'm using my quotation fingers because I'm not saying want, but why do you want to be a millionaire? It's because in your mind, you think that that's what success is. Because in my opinion, money has nothing to do with success. Success is like having freedom and a lifestyle that makes you feel happy and you jump out of bed in the morning and you're in the flow of God force. And then it's so crazy because we both know this for a fact because we've experienced it. When you start to have that flow of God force energy coming in, what happens? You become rich.
Absolutely.
It's just, that's how it goes.
And it's actually, you're focusing on the wrong end of the scale. Success comes first.
Yes.
Then the money or whatever else is the byproduct. Because
absolutely.
You can't have that kind of thing if you're not ready to be able to serve in that capacity or have the makeup, right? Or have done the homework.
It's the same thing with weight. People say, I want to lose 100 pounds. But why don't you heal your inner child and heal all of your trauma and heal all your old wounds that you've been just dragging around like baggage through Logan Airport? And guess what? The weight will come off because the weight is a symptomatic byproduct of how you feel on the inside.
It's like the money. They're just looking at the wrong goal.
Yep.
Right. They think somehow, okay, if I lost 100, then I'll be happy.
Right.
Guess what? That's not how it works, people.
How it works. You have to be happy first, and then everything else will start to align.
In Ambitchious land, I like to call it opposite world. Whatever you think is good is not good. Whatever you think is bad is actually good.
Right.
So it's like flipping that script constantly and thinking in a different way, like shifting the paradigm.
Right.
Really, right?
Absolutely.
Next one, be careful with what you put after the words I am. So I and am together are the two most, in my opinion, creative words in this universe, in this multiverse, right?
Yes.
So when you're like, I am stupid, I am fat, I am ugly, I am dumb, I'm not enough, I'm all these things.
I am broke.
I'm poor.
Yeah.
Okay. And I just have to stop for a second because I have to erase all that because I don't mean.
I'm moving over.
Erase. But when you say the words I am, and those are so creative, and then you say something negative after it, so will become your reality. Start taking a consensus every day of all the times that you say I am and put something negative behind it. You will be blown out of the freaking water how many times you say I am and then put something negative behind it.
Yes.
So start with affirmations.
Yeah.
If you think that you're, broke, instead of saying I am broke, say I am on my way to wealth or richness or abundance or whatever.
Right.
Shift it. Flip it upside down.
And it's all programming, right? It came from our parents. It came from our grandparents. It came from generational and it also came from people that knew how to use language. And it's like, I wonder why that family just keeps on just getting better. And
oh my God,
because
so
they
true.
were using they were using this language a long time ago.
Yes.
They were more positive. They were more creative with their language. They knew that they would look for solutions instead of can't.
Yes.
Right. I grew up with a kid that was a kid in Melrose that was a smart kid, came from a wealthy family. And, his language was totally different. He even would say to me as a kid, he would say, Matt, well, let's look for a solution. And I'm like, whoa, I wouldn't look for solutions.
Solutions? There's no solutions in my house.
We just freaking throw something at the wall.
Yeah, we break dishes.
Oh, fuck it.
We break dishes.
So I had to go out and kind of learn, but that was where that was as high as my family's consciousness went, and I had to go find.
And nothing
more.
against them.
No,
they didn't know any better.
And I wouldn't be the man
absolutely.
I am today without it.
100%.
Right?
But I also have to say is, if you're out there and you are like, oh my God, this is totally me, I have this languaging, when you know better, you do better. Okay. Or you're just a dumb motherfucker.
Right. If you know better and you do keep on doing the same.
Okay. That's insane.
That's a problem.
So if you're out there listening and you're like, oh my God, Katie is speaking so much into me right now and this is so me and I always say negative things after I am, then you have to change it. You must change it. So start, like Matt said, reprogramming yourself. Tell people around you who are closest to you, hey, if I say anything like I am, or I can't, or I want, or I need, or I say something negative after the words I am, will you check me?
I'm not enough, or whatever the case may be.
Check me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Say like, hey, girlfriend, you're doing it again.
And we step back. I mean,
I'll on my way here, I said something stupid, and I was like, "Oh my God, where is this coming from?"
Right.
For me, it's fear because it's like I have a very busy day today, and I wanted to get as much done as possible. And Matt was like running a little bit late, like his normal, usual self. And he was like, "Katie, you know that time is not linear. You know that like time is on our side. Like, why do you?" And I started having to peel the onion. And I was like, oh my God, this is why I don't like being late because it triggers some things that I went through in childhood about, people.
Which I never even knew.
I didn't know either until it came out of my mouth.
Wow.
But that's what being woke and, doing the spiritual healing work is all about.
Looking where the root came from, where did it come from?
And now I know, okay, this is from my childhood. This old part of me has to die so I can step into my new more ambitious self.
Right.
And I know that I'm the queen of ambitious land, but I still fuck up.
Oh my God, I do too.
Right?
Everyone does. But being conscious of it, it's not, being woke is not being perfect. It's about saying, hey, oh shit, this is why this happened. Let me go back to the drawing board and let me realize what I did and then make the change.
100%. Yeah. Number 3, speak things into existence. Jay-Z had a quote one day. And he says, I believe that you can speak things into existence. If you listen to his old raps, he literally, through his raps, has created his reality now.
Absolutely. But he knew somewhere, or he was doing it by accident. And
which a lot of people do. I think you and I did a lot of things by accident when we were younger.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like we talked about how I learned how to do goal set through my martial arts.
And how I would write everything down like 1,000,000 times. And I still do that. Like if you guys are watching this on YouTube or you're watching this on Facebook, this is my journal. And in this journal, I write down my goals every day, like hundreds and hundreds of times, as if I've already achieved them, because I know that they're already on their way. And I know the more that I write about it and talk about it, I'm just calling it closer and closer and closer into my energetic auric vibrational frequency.
Absolutely. And you're very precise.
I am very definite with what I desire.
And so forth. And
right.
So
I mean, I'm a psychopath with that kind of stuff.
But it works for you. I do things differently. Like I know how to, use my language and, do certain things. But I have my yellow legal pad all the time.
Yes.
And I'm always thinking about how to make things better.
Right.
It's not just going to come. It's not going to be one day, something's going to shift in my life that's going to turn me around or change my life. It's language, thought, language, and deeds.
Yes.
That's the only way.
So I'll give you guys an example. So say you desire to live in Maui. Okay. You want to get a house in Maui. That's like one of your desires. Okay. And that's on your goal, dream, aspirations, your vision board. It's in like whatever. You, instead of being like, oh, I want a house in Maui someday, just say, like if you were talking like, so when we have our home in Maui, we're going to be able to do A, B, C, and D.
Right.
So it's almost like you are already saying like when this happens, because there's no doubt in your mind that it's on its way.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Right. I'm pretty good at doing that kind of stuff.
And I'm just waiting for a house.
Right.
I'm just waiting.
And sometimes people will say to me like, well, doesn't that feel like you're lying? And it's like, no, because I truly do believe in my heart that's already on its way.
At the beginning, it may feel like you're lying, but the more and more and more you work the language into, your lifestyle, then it becomes more and more real.
110%. Number 4, this is a huge one, guys. So for the people in the back, listen up, because this is a lot of you guys are being held back because of these fuckers. Protect yourself against other negative language users. When you're surrounded by people who have negative languaging and they say things like, I want, I need, I can't, I am broke, I am this, I am stupid, I am fat, whatever the fuck that they're saying, I don't care who you are. You could be the goddamn Dalai Lama. It's going to rub off on you.
It will seep into you.
Yes.
It will seep into you.
Absolutely.
It's like hanging around with somebody with a really bad cold. And how are you not going to get a cold?
Right.
You're going to be next to them, right? But
if your immune system's low.
If your immune system's low, you're going to catch it. Or if you doubt yourself, you're going to catch the negativity, right? So if you're constantly being bombarded around negative people, it's going to seep into you.
That was a really good example that you just said. Like if you're hanging around with someone with a cold and your immune system's low, you're going to get it. It's the same thing. If your spiritual, mental, and emotional immune system is low and you're not living optimally in high performance and you're not using your thoughts, words, and actions to create an amazing and manifest an amazing reality, then just like a cold will seep into someone's physical body that has a low immune system, so it shall be with someone who has a low immune system that's, emotional, mental, and spiritual.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, it travels through the ethers just like germs, just like anything else. It's an energy.
Totally.
Right? You can't see it like a germ, but it's there, right? So you can catch it. So, but if you do, and this is another really good point, I think I learned a long time ago, and if you do 1, 2, and 3, stop using words like want, need, can. You be careful what the words you put out there. You're going to start making a change, but then you're going to have people that don't like that change. Then all of a sudden they're going to be like, why aren't you so freaking great that you know this and you're doing this and you're working towards that. If you were spiritual. And something spiritual, you need to have to kind of move away from the people that hold you back or want to drag you down. Like we talk about the crabs in the bucket all the time.
Or the shit pit.
They want to pull you down. Not that they're bad people.
Some of them love you so much. That's why they want to pull you down.
They're afraid that you're going to leave them, or they're afraid that you're going to be able to actually realize your dreams, and they've never been able to even think about their dreams, which is,
sad.
It's a bad negative cold.
Yes.
Right? So you have to kind of be careful.
110%.
In that area.
So start really thinking about the people that are surrounding you that use this type of languaging, and start thinking about like how you can kind of make them disappear, some of them, or push them a little bit further away from your inner sanctum, because they will poison you.
Right.
They will poison you. I don't care how strong you are. If you are surrounded by a bunch of dicks, they will poison you.
And if you do make these changes, you don't have to tell anybody what you're doing. All you have to do is do the work. And all of a sudden, you're going to be like, people are going to come to you and say, hey, Matt, or hey, Katie, or hey, John, what are you doing? You're different. You're acting different. You're more positive.
Yes.
You're more on the beam. Or
Yes.
life is really, you're really in control of your destiny. It seems like everything is just happening for you. Then that gives you permission to say, hey,
by the way,
I learned how to use my language better.
Yes.
I learned how to set goals. I learned how to speak things into existence.
Mm-hmm.
All of these different things, which is huge. Lead by example. Right? And that's the ultimate way.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And last but not least, watch your mouth. Watch
and I'm not saying about the F word. The F word is not a problem, really, in reality.
We're not talking about swearing, because you know that we're cherubs here and we never say any F-bombs ever.
Nope.
We're talking more about the way that the words that you're saying.
Yes.
Right?
Well, I have people come up to me, oh, I think it's my fibromyalgia. And I'm like, and then I don't know if you have fibromyalgia or you have a sickness or you're not feeling well. The more you talk about these negative things, the more brighter and bigger and more real and more exacerbated it becomes. And the only time you need to talk about illness or a problem is to your physician and leave it there.
Or your therapist,
or your coach, or whatever the case may be, and then leave it there and don't go around telling everybody. How many times do you see people all the time talking about, last week I have this cold and now my knee's out and I couldn't possibly do that because
they'll say like,
my hip joint is bothering me.
Well, my baby got sick. My baby came home and my baby was sick from daycare, so I'm definitely going to get sick too. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah. Or you're walking around the grocery store and you hear the old ladies and they're like, well, my back this, and they're like, but my knee that. And it's like the Macarena of disease and illness, right?
Right.
And it's like, shut the actual fuck up. So even like, I'll give you an example. I work really hard every day. Like I put 110% into everything I do. And by the time like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock rolls around, I am just like ready for bed. And Matt will say to me, hey babe, how you feeling today? And I'll be like, I'm just so tired. I'm just so tired. And then I started realizing like, oh my God, I'm not fucking tired. I feel actually great. I'm just so used to saying I'm tired because everyone else around me is always saying how tired they are.
Right.
And I was brought up with my family of origin where they were always tired too.
Right.
So it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of exhaustion. And then when you say you're tired, then you will become tired.
Absolutely.
But it's just a bad habit.
It's programming, right? So if you say, no, I feel great, I'm going to go to bed around 10:30.
Yeah.
Really watch the little things.
Yes.
And, if you're married or your significant other, if they are interested in this type of work, have them watch you. You need a helper. It's a team. It's like a workout buddy.
Yeah.
But now we're working on our brain and our spiritual muscles.
Yes.
And that's what we're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So watch your mouth. Watch your mouth, or we'll wash it out with soap. Jinx Coke Infinity.
Jinx, yes.
Oh my God. Thank you guys all for being crusaders to this ambitious movement. Get on over to www.kbmsc.com. And like I always say, see you next Tuesday.
Good job.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.